Hello, folks. My name is Ernest. Thank you for tuning in. Before I go into this, I want you to know, regardless of where you stand politically, this episode is not intended to be about politics. It's about basic goddamn humanity, or a lack thereof. Currently in America, if you're one of the fortunate few whose hard day of work consists of 18 rounds of golf at a private golf course, followed by a fabulous dinner, you probably won't hear this message. But the rest of us have certainly heard yours. Need SNAP benefits to keep you and your family from going hungry? Fuck you. Need a functional government that isn't shut down to provide tax-paying citizens with even the most basic governmental functions, such as life-saving emergency organ transplants typically sent via aircraft. Fuck you. Yes, I believe most Americans are getting the message loud and clear. The question becomes, though, what are we going to do about it? Well, I believe that when enough Americans and their children begin to starve, they'll begin to be thinking long and hard about some terrible decisions they made about a year ago. Because now the proverbial chickens are coming home to roost, and King Trump and his round table of thievingly rich plutocratic puppets in the White House has a clear and unambiguous message to the peasants, aka the American working class. Fuck you. I want to reiterate that this is not meant to be about politics per se. This is a critique of what America shamefully has become. At no time in the relatively short history of this nation has there been a more corrupt, inept, and inhuman president and administration than now. The current administration, which are nothing but total lapdogs for plutocratic corporate interest, have been working overtime to destroy every social pillar of our democratic society, if I may name just a few. A war on workers' rights and protections, a war against unionization, a war against environmental responsibility, a war against the public school system, a war against federal workers, and a war against any and all critical news media, if any still exist at all. And that's only a handful of what's been destroyed or is in the process of being destroyed right now. And as far as the Supreme Court, what do you think our paragons of law and social justice think about King Trump's desire and demand to destroy the SNAP food assistance subsidy? Think? Apparently, they think the idea is just fine and dandy. King Trump's lapdogs of the plutocratic corporate elite voted to side with King Trump to halt SNAP food benefit payments as Trump wanted. So much for the Supreme Court. I find it very ironic that this select group of creatures who are very well paid and benefited and have their job for life, who are supposed to be decent human beings capable of good, humane, and rational judgment, would vote to deny those truly in need of support to those needing the most basic element of life, food, in the wealthiest and supposedly greatest nation on earth. You can bet your ass one thing, though. None of them are ever going to go hungry. And none of them, I'd be willing to wager a lot of money, if I had it, ever have been. So I ask you, and I don't give a damn what political stripe you're from, does this seem right to you? Do you think this degradation and humiliation forced on people with little or no means to do better, and most often are simply the victims of circumstance and situations they had no control over, is right? I can tell you that in the past 20 years alone, I have personally known dozens and dozens of people that lost everything by no fault of their own. And I can state that with an absolute truth. I'm about to wrap this up, and if you've stuck around this long, I absolutely thank you. And if you are, or formerly were, a King Trump supporter, I doubly thank you. I want to ask you one of the most difficult questions of all. What would Jesus do? Now, I'm not trying to be sarcastic. As I've stated many times before, I'm very happily agnostic, but I do appreciate much of the philosophy of the Jesus. I'm saying this because I know many of King Trump's base to be religious. So, with that in mind, I'm simply asking you this. Do you think Jesus would endorse the idea of cutting SNAP benefits? I would certainly hope not, because I don't claim to be a theologian by any means, but I do seem to remember Jesus healing people and Jesus feeding people, you know, generally doing good things. That's why I subscribe to the idea of the old Doobie Brothers song that Jesus is just all right with me. Just one last thing. When I think of King Trump, one of the closest historical figures in terms of delusional and utter disconnection from reality and anything other than the most superficial human connection, I think of the Roman Emperor Nero. Now, historically, much is known about and said about Nero, and one of them being, besides the fact that he stomped his own mother to death, is that Nero fiddled as Rome burned, which begs the question, I wonder what tune King Trump is currently playing, because America is sure as hell burning. I invite you to reach out to me. I would love to discuss any of this, or anything else for that matter, with you. Until next time, this is Ernest, and it's all I've got for today.